Good day, folks. Welcome to our first episode of Blunt and Banter. I'm Corinne.
And I'm Cohen.
And we are a brother-sister duo that likes to talk about everything and nothing at the same time while we snack and have some drinks. And we're just going to see how this rocks and rolls. It could be great. It could crash and burn. But at the end of the day, we're siblings and we have to see each other at dinner time. Cue the intro. And we're back. What are we talking about?
Today we are talking about false confidence. Something that I definitely have never felt in my life.
Definitely not.
I'm just confident. It's never false. How about you?
I'm always wrong. That's where you start wrong and then you just climb it.
So it's just accurate and low confidence.
Low confidence and we just climb. Set the bar low, so you're always awesome.
Ooh.
That's where I like to stay.
That what is false confidence? Because it's the opposite of what we're talking about.
100%.
What is false confidence?
False confidence is when you act above your level. You go in. Sorry, what?
You act above your level.
You act above your level.
You act a 10 when you're a 3.
Ooh, we love that. A 5's walking in with their chest held high.
And well, I think we can also define it a little bit more concretely, like acting more capable than you are in relation to reality. What's a good example of false confidence? What do you think?
Oof. When someone in your workplace is yapping about their accomplishments when they haven't quite done it yet.
Ooh, so they're talking up an achievement that hasn't happened yet.
Exactly. Like you got the promotion that hasn't been released yet.
So they're calling their shot before they make it. That's
There
pretty
you
cool. Where can we see this?
Oh, fuck. We can see it everywhere. Social gatherings, sporting events, work. At a party you just been invited to and you're hearing them and across the room there just yapping out of the way.
Just talking
out the storm.
Filling the silence with their voice. And it's a shame because their voice isn't that good. We know who we're talking about. People in the gym. We have seen this.
We've seen that.
Now, I'm going to probably trigger a few people.
First episode.
I'm going to trigger them because
Okay.
I'm going to say things and I'm going to expose you as those with the false confidence in the gym. Now, I'm using this as an example because a lot of people go to gyms and it's a really good anchor point. So, let's say somebody is talking about a shitload of research, how really good they are at the gym, and they're just filling the air with their silence. And then you start asking questions to this person. You start digging in a little bit. They start quoting all of these big terms. And then you start asking, well, what does this actually mean? How do I apply this? And then they start crumbling.
We love a mockingbird with buzzwords.
A mockingbird
with buzzwords. Yep. Thank you. I have a lot of catchphrases.
You just nailed
Drop merch.
that. Now, the gym is a good spot.
I like where we start with
Relationships is another one.
Ooh. What do you mean by relationships? You mean romantic, platonic,
Well,
business?
if you're dating,
Ooh.
right?
Yeah.
You kind of have to sell yourself. There's a little aspect of
Okay.
faking it till you make it, or
Ooh,
selling
love it.
or
Selling real estate.
Handing yourself up so that the person sees you favorably regardless of your actual efficacy.
We've seen those Tinder bios.
Efficacy is the wrong word for that. Your actual value.
Efficiency?
Nah. I go with value.
Authenticity?
Yeah. How much money do you make? Oh man, I make a lot. It's got zeros in it.
Yeah. In this economy, gauges.
It's got zeros. Now, when it comes to work, I want to dig in a little bit on you. Your work.
Yep.
Let's set the scene because I want to know some false confidence that's featured in your work. So, what is your job?
Well, by trade, I am registered as a environmental technician. Working on those letters though, so come next episode, ask me again. But unfortunately, in my work, you can't really false confidence yourself because one, you'll die. Because
What?
Yeah, hang on. when you're going out in the field, my field is quite literally the woods. So if you're going in a bit too confident, you might not make it out of the woods.
Interesting.
So you have to study, prepare, prep. There's a lot of health and safety that's involved.
So I guess to dig in a little bit, so the viewers can
much like my job.
Much better idea. Ah, that's good.
So joke.
What does a day in your job look like?
It varies. So take it a grain of salt.
Let's take a sliver. Let's take a sliver of it.
So let's take an analogy. So it's hot. You're going in and you have to wear your PPE. You gotta wear your bug dope. You gotta wear your sunscreen. You gotta bring your water. You know, you might think, oh, it's going to take a day. I'm going to bring one thing of water and one thing of snacks, and then we're good. Just super confident that it's going to be a day. So you're on day 3 of a project, and you have no snacks and no water. Don't do that.
So some of your jobs take days to be done.
Oh, yeah. So you think it will take an hour, and you're on day 2 of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So have you seen this happen?
I've actually witnessed this happen a few times. If there has been a few times where the project's going to take a week. A month in, now we're done. So
okay.
Yeah.
So sounds to me that you see false confidence happen in your workplace, and it ends up making your life harder.
No, I like my job because that means if I'm working on a project that is longer, that means job security at my end.
Right, not the question I'm asking. Oh. I'm saying that if the person shows up with false confidence, they make your life harder because now you have to take care of them.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, especially since I am very pro sunscreen. Bring me the cancers of what sunscreen might have. We love zinc. Not in certain locations. Sometimes zinc is bad. But I will be carrying extra bug dope and extra sunscreen for myself and whoever thinks that, oh, mosquitoes and ticks don't like me. They do. Ticks love everyone.
They like them.
Ticks love everyone.
Now, a little about myself. I used a gym analogy, not just because I think gyms are cool, but I used to work at one. I used to train athletes and just general people there. And I'm also a massage therapist. So false confidence fits into my role interestingly. Mm-hmm. Let's take just the training role. I've used a good example of somebody just talking to fill the space to make it sound like they know probably more than they do. The consequence of this is not immediate, nor is it really intense, because let's say somebody is just pretending that they know a whole lot more in a gym setting about lifting. Sure, maybe the client won't gain a lot, but it can escalate all the way up to the level of the person who just entered the gym, trainer in this case, starts lifting, starts gaining strength, newbie gains. Most of us have heard of this. First few months he gets crazy strong, and he feels like he is basically able to teach anybody how to do anything because he's seen so many results so quickly. But with time comes experience, and if there's limited time, there's definitely limited experience. So he probably won't know all of the factors for lifting safely. And if he doesn't train like that, he's at risk for being injured, or she, and so is he or she's client. So the immediate issue with somebody who doesn't have a lot of experience as a trainer would be that their client could have low results or okay results, just insofar as they can follow what this person's already done. Not everybody can lift a lot of weight. Not everybody has the ability to do that without getting hurt. And then there's the increased risk, which is the person can actually get injured because they didn't get coached, because the coach didn't know it. So then you get the massage therapy side of things.
Yeah.
This is where I particularly have a bone to pick with people who act more intelligent in this field than they actually are.
Okay.
Now, if somebody who is a massage therapist really starts talking outside of their wheelhouse, aka scope of practice, if they are working with a client, say they have neck pain, during a session, a lot of people just disclose things. Mm-hmm. I've been trying to lose weight, or I've been trying to feel better. What do you think I should eat? The massage therapist is not a fucking dietitian.
Ooh, John. Oh.
Right?
PG-13 rating.
They're gone out the window. So this massage therapist has no business telling them they should be eating turmeric. They should be doing all these other things.
Turmeric is such a trend I've witnessed on Instagram recently. It's like, what's going on with turmeric? Why not cinnamon?
Do some research into it, but
Yeah.
basically the way I just answered you right there is how a massage therapist should answer that question. What should I eat? Well, you should do some research and consult a dietitian. Where the problems begin is when they start telling people exactly what to eat, how to eat it, when to do it, all of these things, because they don't have liability insurance in that. So if they eat something and they turn out to be allergic to it, then they come back and sue you because they, this person told me to do this. So and on top of that, you're devaluing the...
Jim hair today. Sorry.
What?
Jim hair.
Oh. You're devaluing the efficacy of massage therapy because suddenly you're starting to akin a massage therapist to somebody who just runs their mouth about things they don't know about. And I take this very seriously. So there's some examples that you could see in a workplace, in both of our cases. Now, we've already identified a couple dangers, like can lead to bad decisions. Like a trainer who's never experienced things ends up getting hurt or hurts their clients.
Or lack of water and sunscreen when you're working on the field.
Or lack of that. But there's also something I want to dig in on a little bit. Lack of growth.
Oh,
Lack of growth. Now,
is this fear of rejection in the workplace, or is this a self-esteem issue?
No, it's more along the lines of if you have false confidence and are dogmatic about it, you are resistant to change. Because if you feel like you know it all already, why the fuck would you listen to anyone?
Insecurity.
Sure, you can throw a whole bunch of different terms at it, but what does that say to you if somebody has false confidence and then is stunted and stops improving? Is that a useful person or is that somebody...
Stonewall.
Stonewall?
Stonewall.
Okay. Now, we've met people like this.
Oh, 100%.
I bet you've met people like this in your karate.
Ooh,
I'm pulling that out.
You're pulling karate out, all right.
I'm doing Kren's intro for her.
There you go.
So, karate.
I have a lot of backgrounds. I have a lot of lore.
Tell me, in this part of your lore, about some Stonewall senseis.
Stonewall senseis, I can throw a lot of Stonewall athletes at you, too. My lord.
So,
I don't really have a specific person because every sensei has their little quirks, little combos. So in general, there's a lot of senseis out there. Not in my style, but I've witnessed on Instagram or stories of WKF and all that, where karate coaches or karate senseis would actively fight the organization or actively fight refs at Worlds or Pan Ams and all that, trying to say, oh, well, I taught my student this, so they're allowed to do it because, there wasn't a rule when I was training them, blah, blah, blah. Or an older sensei took time off, lived his best life, came back, and then, rules changed, regulations, you can't hit kids with sticks anymore. And then, they're like, I'm a high-ranking sensei, I can... beat them with sticks still. I'm like, no,
I think people should be hit with sticks more.
Sometimes. We don't hit kids.
Bring sticks back, guys.
That's on the... Bring sticks back. No, don't do that. Please do not hit kids. No hitting kids.
But yeah, we've had... I was talking about adults.
Adults. Hit sticks with adults.
Commit assault.
No. Kids can bounce better. Moving on. Prepare for bruises. No. Don't hit kids and adults, so they bruise easily. So don't do that. Anyway, I've had a lot of senseis come back and say, well, I'm a high-ranking sensei, I'm going to do whatever I want, blah, 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 and they're buffing up their chest like, you can't tell me what to do. I'm like, you're not really good anymore. You can't bend your knees.
Because they've hit a wall and they haven't improved insofar that they have said that they are the best.
Yeah.
No need to listen anymore, right?
There's been a lot of senseis where they can't go any higher because either physicality or knowledge or whatever, they can't increase. I know my weaknesses. I stop going for ranks when I know I take pauses in my belt levels or my
So
title
you-
ranks because I need time to study. I need
So
time
you
to
embrace
breathe.
a bit of humility in your
Oh
journey.
yeah, humble me.
Okay.
I'm very humble. Not really.
I am so humble.
I'm so humble, guys.
The humblest.
You'll learn that's about me. I'm so humble. Definitely not. But
And it kind of erodes trust in them as leaders, right?
when you are scary and you don't listen to people, you're not gonna have a lot of respect.
Okay, so it's you're just aggressive and not able to explain things very well.
Just know it. Just be better.
Just do the thing.
Just
I'm
be
here
better.
to learn. Why didn't you
Yeah,
just
like
teach
why
me
can't
the
you
thing?
just like I'm not coming in knowing this. You should teach me.
For sure. So their relationships are eroded.
Yeah.
And honestly, there is almost nothing more ugly than an adult child. And that's kind of
It's
what
a
that sounds like,
nightmare.
right?
Yeah. It's
Because
a
if
nightmare.
you're just resistant to change, don't want to listen at all, and you're just stuck in a
Back
thing,
in my day,
we're not in your day
I
anymore.
was like, oh, progressive.
So there's a lot of things that we can take. You've just alluded to a couple of them. How to take false confidence and turn it into real confidence. And it's not all bad. And in this case, embracing humility is the way to come out of that. Because then that just turns into real confidence if you embrace humility enough. So then there's the surrounding yourself with people that are typically better than you in some aspect or actually want to be better or make you better as well. That is also a way to turn false confidence into real confidence. And counterintuitively, you can develop real confidence by faking it until you make it in a way.
Until you make it.
Because if we take this example, if I jump into a karate class and I tell them, I know a little bit about karate. I know a little bit of that.
Yeah.
And then you just start doing things, inherently you do begin to learn.
Oh, yeah.
But that's assuming that you actually have a little bit of openness to learning at all.
I like to say that's a mental safety net. Being willing to do it, just like firsthand, say you walk in and you're like, let's spar. Like, yeah, let's spar. Let's go get it. I like the go-getter attitude.
The go-getter attitude.
Or the safety net mentality of, I'll do it, but at least I'll have someone around me that knows better to correct me before I hurt myself.
I see.
Like a mentor or like you go in, like go-getter, initiative, go for it, but then someone needs to help me before I die.
Somebody has to help me for a day.
Yeah, and I think that benefits me, like the workforce, because obviously I'm fresh into the workforce and I'm saying I can definitely do this, this, and this because I learned that in school. So I'm like, okay, so I know some background to it. So I'm confident enough to do it on the field, but I would love to have someone who will answer my call if I need help. Someone, a mentor or like a senior advisor to show me at least 1 or 2 times to show me, and then that is how you stay alive in the woods.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I think this is as good a time as any to move into the next part of today. Now, on every episode that we do, we're going to draw on smarter people than us. It is a way for us to not portray false confidence. What a way to start. Now, the research that we've both done done a little bit of digging. My topic is called the Dunning-Kruger effect. Now, I'm going to do a little bit of explanation as to what this is, how it applies to our topic, and then give a little bit of a realistic description of where you could see this effect. So, right off the bat, Dunning-Kruger effect is a cognitive bias where people with low ability in a certain area overestimate their competence. In other words, the less you know, the more you think you know. And I really felt this. This research was done not too long ago. You probably have to dig into it yourself to see the dates for when the whole research study was done. But for the purpose of this conversation, we're just going to talk about what it is. So, it came up with a lot of really cool catchphrases for the process of learning and where people tend to fall in or fall out of the process of perfection or actual confidence. So, I'll scroll down a little bit here. So, a classic example for the Dunning-Kruger effect would be picturing somebody who has just learned, who has started the path of learning how to do investing. So he's watching some YouTube videos, and he has a pretty broad idea as to how to navigate the market. And meanwhile, an actual expert who studied it for years, who knows a lot about the market and knows how to invest, when to buy, when to sell, and feels like he needs to be a little bit more cautious because he knows enough of the topic to know that he doesn't know everything yet. Versus somebody who's watched some YouTube, doesn't even know enough to ask questions about the topic to find more things. So how does this happen? When people have little experience in things, they don't really know what they don't know yet. And I feel that walking into some of the topics in my degree in kin, I felt like I knew bodies do things, blood and nerves and stuff. But once I started learning about how all of it's connected and how it functions, I felt like I was in a valley, aka the Valley of Despair. So we'll get more to that in a minute. Now, they lack the skills to accurately assess their own ability. So I don't even know how to measure my own skills in said task. Like in archery, if somebody just hands you a bow and you've never held a bow before, and you just start doing things, and then something happens, you know you did a thing and another thing happens, but you don't have any way to know how good it was, because you haven't experienced enough in it yet.
Exactly.
So, on the flip side, experts sometimes underestimate themselves because they're so aware of how much there is to learn. They're not really ranking their own skills as high as they probably should be because they're aware of their own ignorance. So there's a couple terms in here I think is really, really cool.
Hope for the best, plan for the worst.
Fair.
Yeah.
And you can see people like social media gurus. You can see people like workplace overconfidence, like we talked about earlier. You can see fighters or athletes all display the Dunning-Kruger effect. Now, how does it relate to false confidence? Many people walk around with an inflated level of confidence, especially in North America. We're very individualistic.
Yeah.
I, me. So, not realizing that they're at the peak of ignorance. There's another one of those terms. You're at the peak of Mount Ignorance, or Mount Stupid, if you really want to call it that. You had the taste. You're at the summit. I feel like a god. I can do a bench press. Anybody can follow me and I'll lead them to victory. And then suddenly they do a little bit of research, and somebody who's actually done a lot of bench pressing tells them about how to brace or how to get tension. Oh, fuck, I don't actually know anything about this. So they're
the gym goers that mock people for doing the bench arc, and then they have a flat back. I'm like, good luck with that shoulder lifespan.
I don't know, it's like having a really strong opinion about something.
Super strong.
And not have enough information to develop the thoughts fully. So it's super duper common in so many things. Yeah. So once they enter the Valley of Despair, where they recognize that they really don't fucking know enough about the thing, that's where a lot of people can either fall in. What?
2 F-bombs, you're allowed to PG-13.
That's like 4 now.
I know.
So people can either fall off of this path and say, screw it, I don't want to do this anymore, this is way too hard. Or they start digging their heels in and they actually want to learn the thing.
There you go.
That's where you start climbing your way up the ladder of actually developing skill, of actually developing confidence. So there are a couple things that we should take away from this concept, and I really encourage the viewers to observe this for themselves. Once somebody learns about a concept, and they learn just enough about it to execute small tasks, they will reach Mount Stupid, the peak of Mount Stupid.
We've all been there.
Oh, I'm there now. This is our first episode of podcasting.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We're both at the peak of Mount Stupid.
I know 10 ways this has gone wrong.
So, Now, over the past few days, you and I have both felt the valley of despair.
Everything's breaking.
Rolling in.
Everything's breaking.
The editing, the processing, all of these things.
The recording.
Yeah. It's going to be a ride.
It's rough.
So, it's up to you and I to decide whether we fall on or off of this. Because we're in the despair. But if we keep walking back up the other side of this valley, we could end up with actually true skill or true confidence in this concept. So, Dunning-Kruger, what did you do? What was your research?
Well, I was dabbling. I rabbit holed. I unfortunately did rabbit hole.
This is the time.
I did it. Yeah, I did. So I initially thought, okay, what's a safe thing to look at? Well, project management or just generally planning in general, because I love planning. When in doubt, plan. Just write it out, write a list out. So I found this planning fallacy, which is very fun. I quite like this one. So in theory, the scenario, I'll, close your eyes, picture this. So project manager or your friend, the loudest friend you have, or say a team lead or whatever, they confidently estimate a time, a place. Say you're going camping and you're like, all right, we're going to go camping on this hill. It's going to take us an hour and a half to climb up this hill. We'll set up a tent. We're going to be done before nightfall. Great. You get there. The parking lot is 5 clicks farther than you expected. An hour hike turned into 2-3 hour hike. You're carrying all your stuff up the mountain. So you're already running out of snacks. You have your water, you're dabbling with water, you get there, night hits as soon as you land in the spot that you're setting up your tent. Night hits, it's dark, you have one flashlight, because who brings flashlights? Me. I'm the one who's bringing the flashlight. You land and you're setting up your tent in the dark. You're like, okay, well, yeah. And you're thinking, oh, it's going to be, your friend said, it's camping season. There's not going to be rain. It starts raining. Everything's falling apart, and the outcome is you're wet, your tent's barely open. There you go. Yep.
That's what she said.
There we go. So planning fallacy is you're overcomplicated. You're going in thinking that, it's going to be super easy. I've been camping before. I've done this a million times, blah, blah, blah. But you didn't do the basic steps of what's the weather like? What season is it? How long is it going to be? Where are you parking? Is it going to be busy? What's going on? Just one thing after another is falling apart. And I really like that. I kind of relate to that because I've been there. I've gone camping with many people who... You're like, we're going to go camping. It's going to be great. No problem. I look at the weather network the day before we go out and thinking, I don't want to go camping in a rainstorm. We do anyway. I look at the weather, say, we don't want to do that hike. They said, no, it's fine. It's going to clear up before we go. I've been hiking in the rain for quite a time. So, yeah.
So it sounds like this is a cool little blend because it's a combination of of somebody's planning combined with overconfidence to result in a failed expedition, really.
Yeah.
So if you have too much confidence in your abilities without any way to truly measure or qualify it, and then that'll lead you to poorly planning for things that you would have no way to know how to plan for them. Because if you're going on a hunting trip, how would you know to bring extra Band-Aids, for example? Why am I going to get cut? I'm stabbing the other thing.
Many a times I've been camping with people or hiking with people and they don't know how to tie knots, and they never even thought about bringing duct tape or a lighter or anything. It's like, we're going hiking.
Because why would they? Duct tape on its face doesn't sound like something you would need.
Why duct tape?
So I think that's a really cool example of how a real world situation could have dire consequences with it being connected to false confidence.
A lot of people ask me, why do you have a lighter in your bag? You don't smoke or do anything. I'm like, you never know. And then a lot of times I have to pull out my safety lighter.
Okay.
Just randomly, like either I don't have a knife on me, so I light the rope on fire and just you dab it out, or you need to melt something, or you need to cut something, or you need to do rust maintenance and you just burn out the rust and off you go. A lot of things.
So I'm taking a lot of takeaways from this discussion. What are you taking away so far?
A good old quote from a teacher that we both had in grade school is prior planning prevents poor performance.
5 Ps.
5 Ps. Yeah.
Okay.
There you
go. I think that we can add a little more to that. It's impossible to plan for something that you have no concept of. So you can't plan for an Everest hike if you've never done, or Everest hike,
shoot for the sky, that one, yeah.
A summiting of Everest, you're just walking up a hill, right? So it's on its face. So if we think of false confidence, and the biggest takeaway that we should have from this discussion is, once you begin on a path in a concept you have never experienced before, prepare for your mind to be blown with the complexity of it. And be prepared for your soul to be rocked before you start leaning on your own laurels.
Okay.
So, the pit of despair, in which we are all in some concept, is your rite of passage to true confidence.
You're wet, it's dark, and you have no tent. What are you going to do?
That's what she said.
There you go.
It's a shitty one.
This is Blood Banter. I'm Corinne.
I'm Cohen.
Go to bed.
Please.